Hi and welcome to Unit 2, Topic 3, Video 5. And you may remember this particular example that we've used in a previous video. So this was the sales figures for a food cart, van, whatever it is, selling hot dogs, burgers and wraps. And of course the 4 students from my class in the previous year where we looked at what the sales results were. So I've got a couple of questions here and we're going to use matrix multiplication to solve them. Now, this is a really big thing, is that you might think in some cases, particularly small cases like this, why do we do matrix multiplication? I mean, I can work this. How much does each person make? Well, I've got the profits there. Like, how much does Alzani make? 12 times $1.20 plus 2 times $3 plus 3 times $2.10. How hard can it be? Why do we need to use matrix multiplication? And I understand your question. I see it. One of the big reasons why we use it is that we can explain this to a computer. We can't get a computer to interpret a question, but we can very easily input things into information in terms of matrices and then tell it to do multiplication. That really helps. Another big reason is that this is quite a small matrix, but what if it's much larger? Matrix multiplication is then just a much simpler way that we can just build a really procedural way of doing it. So let's have a look. How much does each person make? So I'll go up here, we'll do this as part A over here. And I'm going to start by defining a new matrix, which will be my profit matrix. And I'm going to do this as a column matrix. It's kind of like the profit values there as a column matrix. Now, I need to do it as a column matrix because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply S by my profit matrix. So I'm going to do S times P, which will be equal to 12, 2, 3, 1, 0, 1, 11, 14, 7, 8, 12, 13 times by $1.20, $3 and $2.10. I've simplified them down to their single decimals, but hopefully you can see what I've done there. And now that I've got my profit matrix, I can do a really easy calculation using matrix multiplication because I've got dimensions that match 3 and 3. And I'll end up with a 4 by 1 matrix, which will just be the 4 people and the profit they made. So let's have a look. So first of all, and keep in mind what this is telling us. 12 times 1.2, I'll just circle things. 12 times 1.2, 2 times 3, and 3 times 2.1. I'm not going to write down the interim working, but in an exam you should definitely consider doing that. But the result of that is 26.7, 3.3, 69.9 and 72.9, and that's my resultant matrix, which means that Alzani made $26.70 and Connor made $3.30 and Adam made $69.90 and Dylan made $72.90. So that's matrix multiplication to calculate the totals that each person made. How much was made in total is part B, and I'll show you another one here. Obviously I've got the answer to this has worked, but if I do, like I could just add those 4 numbers together, is what I mean, but I could also do this, which is the row matrix of 1s multiplied by this will give me a 1 by 1. So if I do 1, 1, 1, 1, this is question B, times by 26.7, 3.3, 69.9, and 72.9, it will give me a 1 by 1 matrix, which is basically just a sum. So again, another way of telling a computer how to do what needs to be done. And so in this case, that will be 30, 109, 182.8, or $182.80. So that's doing that multiplication. Now you might be thinking, hold on a second, you multiply it on the right hand side here and on the left hand side here. And is there a right answer to calculate how we do these things? Well, as a general rule of thumb, this is going to help us get those individual values for each person, where each person is represented as a row. We multiply on the right hand side because it gives us our row results. You can see our row results there. Whereas the left hand side here will just give us a single row. It clears up the rows. Left hand side multiplication clears up the rows, whereas right hand side multiplication clears up the columns. But that's a lot to take in. I would honestly suggest, think logically about the question. If I multiply this on the other side, let's just take a second and have a think about it. I'm going to end up with a 4x4 matrix, and what is that going to mean? Nothing. So just make sure that you're taking time to think about what's going on. Lastly, question C asks, how much should we increase the cost of hot dogs by to promote Alzani to the largest profiteer? Now notice here it says increase the cost of hot dogs. Hot dogs already have a profit of $1.20, so we're going to take $1.20 off whatever our profit margin we need to have to make Alzani the most profiteer. Now, Alzani sold the most hot dogs at 12, compared to 11 for Adam and 8 for Dylan. Dylan's in the lead now, but 8's quite a lot lower than 12 and 11, so I'd imagine that Adam's our problem person. We'll start there, and we're looking for a way to set a hot dog price such that Alzani ends up with the largest number here. Keep in mind she's a long way off at the moment, they're much larger. So, I'm going to set this up. I'm going to give myself a bit of room from example 7 first of all. And then down here we'll set this last question up. Not really a good way to set it out, A, B on the right and C on the left, but anyway, we've done it now. And I'm going to write out the 12, 2, 3, let's check I've got that right, yep, 1, 0, 1, 11, 14, 7, 8, 12, 13. And I'm going to multiply that by this one again to get my profits, but this time it's 3, 2.1 and X. I don't know what X is. So when I do this calculation, I might just rub this out and put it here, I get 12X plus 12.3, and then I get X plus 2.1, that's Connor, we're not too worried about Connor, she's already beating Connor, X plus 56.7, and then 8X plus 63.3. So that's my resultant matrix there. Now what I want is I want Alzani's profit, and this is the profit matrix. I want hers to be the largest. And I'm mostly worried about this one here. So I'm going to start by saying, what does X need to be such that 12X plus 12.3 is greater than 11X plus 56.7? So we just do our rearrangement now. I'm just going to sort of change this to, what's the hinge point? When are they equal? And then if I go above that value, it'll be greater. So 12X plus 12.3, 11X plus 56.7. I'm going to subtract 11X, I get X plus 12.3 is equal to 56.7, and then I get X is equal to 44.4. So I want that to be $44.40. Now I can check, I can see what her profit is then. I'll do a little check because I'm still a bit worried about Dylan. 12X plus 12.3 has to also be greater than 8X plus 63.3. Same rearrangement gives me 4X has to be greater than 51, therefore X has to be greater than 12.75, so $12.75. And I can see that if X is greater than $44.40, then X was definitely greater than $12.75. $44.40 means that she has the same profit as Adam, and assuming we're working with Australian dollars, it means X must be greater than or equal to $44.45. So we can say the lowest value or the lowest profit must be $44.45, and therefore the increase must be $43.25, because we've already got a profit value of $1.20, so we're going to increase it by $43.25. Now obviously it's a bit of a weird question and it's an outlandish result. If you're making $1.20 profit on a hot dog and then you increase that price by $43.25, no one's buying your hot dogs, let's be honest. But the mathematical question is still posed and we've answered the mathematical question. Hopefully that makes sense. All the best.